Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming out. It is my pleasure this morning to introduce our second summer intern. Some of you probably remember last month our first summer intern, Olivia Weber, presented. Today we have Julia Berkenpas. She is a local high school girl who has been with us all summer. And I also say to those of you that are in the crowd, tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6, we are having an exhibit opening. It will be here on the first floor, but each of our interns has created a case, a display related to their project they've been working on. So 4 to 6, there's going to be some light refreshments, and you're all invited to come stop in, see the work, visit with them a little bit, and join us tomorrow. But with that, I will let Julia start her presentation on cameras, what she's learned, some of the cameras from the museum collection she's gotten to explore this summer. Thank you, Julia.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia, and today I'm going to talk about how cameras and how they started, the famous people and companies that were involved, and some of the actual cameras I worked with this summer. Also, as I'm talking, some of you might remember having one or when you were wanting one when you were younger. The first ever camera was invented in 1816 by a French inventor named Nicephore Niepce. Nicephore was born on March 7, 1765, and later passed away on July 5, 1833. He grew up in a wealthy family and lived in Chalon-sur-Saône. After he served in the French army for a while, he was dismissed for health reasons. He later moved back near his hometown and designated the rest of his life to his research with cameras. When lithography became a hobby in 1813, Nicephore wanted to experiment with it. He was unable to obtain proper lithographic stone, which made him want to find a way to provide images automatically. In April of 1816, he attempted photography, which he called heliography with the camera. He started his attempts by recording a view from his workroom window on a paper that had a silver chloride on it, but that was only partially able to fix the image. In 1826 to 1827, he made a view from his workroom on a pewter plate. It was the first permanently fixed image that didn't disappear. He used a camera obscura, which was also the first ever camera invented. A camera obscura was a darkened space, usually a wooden box, that had a small opening or lens. It was used to project an inverted image onto a pewter plate inside. The plate was coated with bitumen of Judea, a naturally occurring asphalt, which hardened in light and then created the image. Nicephore Niepce and his creation of the first permanent image is what started photography. One of the oldest and most well-known camera companies in the world today is the Eastman Kodak Camera Company. The company was founded by George Eastman in 1881. Originally, the company was called Eastman Dry Plate. Then, later in 1884, the company was renamed Eastman Dry Plate and Film Company. Finally, in 1892, it was renamed to Eastman Kodak, which is the name still today. The founder, George Eastman, was born on 1854 in Waterville, New York. He dropped out of school when he was just 14 to support his mother and two sisters. When he was 24, he planned to take a trip to Santo Domingo, when one of his colleagues suggested he take a camera with him. George even bought a photographic outfit and all the accessories for wet plate days to go with the camera. He never actually went on the trip, but he became fully involved with photography and wanted to make the process of it easier. He spent around 3 years experimenting with gelatin emulsions, and in 1880, he invented a dry plate coating machine. In 1881, after many innovations, Eastman Dry Plate Company created easy-to-use cameras that made photography widely accessible. They established the practice of professional photo finishing and made a flexible film that was a critical contribution to the launch of motion picture industry. Eastman Kodak also produced other things such as roll films, dry plates, and digital imaging solutions. Some of the major cameras produced by Eastman Kodak were the Kodak box cameras around 1890 to 19,000. Then following them, the Brownie camera line, folding cameras, specialty models, and then the Instamatic line. When the Brownie line was introduced, personal photography became very popular. The Brownie cameras were designed to be simple and affordable. They also allowed you to take a picture whenever and wherever you needed. The Eastman Kodak headquarters were in Rochester, New York, but the company operated and manufactured its products worldwide. Eastman Kodak is still alive and running today, even though they did have some financial issues in 2012. The company and products aren't as well known as they used to be, but they did play a very big part in making photography happen. In the museum's camera collection, Eastman Kodak cameras take up most of it. So the 5 I'm going to share with you, I found the most interesting. I also chose these specific cameras because together they cover a lot of the different models. The first camera is the Eastman Kodak No. 1 Autographic Junior. It was invented in 1914 and continued until around 1927. The camera is a folding camera that is about 6 inches tall and 4 inches wide when closed. To open it, you pull the lever down and slide the camera part out until it stops. Some features the camera has is it can use a meniscus lens or rapid rectilinear lens, a reversible finder, an automatic focusing lock. The camera uses roll film 120, which was produced by Eastman Kodak also. The autographic version was made to replace the No. 1 Kodak Junior camera. On the new version, Eastman Kodak added a window on the back so the user could write notes on the film using a metal stylus. Throughout the years, the company produced more than 800,000 units before the camera was discontinued. The second camera is the Eastman Kodak Brownie Star Flash. It was introduced in 1957 and continued until 1962. The camera is quite unique when you look at it because it has a blue and tan plastic body. Most cameras back then and still today are black and brown. The Brownie Star Flash camera is a part of the Kodak Brownie Star series. The series has 5 different cameras and each one of them is a different color. Black was the first color they came out with, then red, white, blue, and lastly a special 2-tone Coca-Cola version. The camera uses 127 roll film, which was also created by Kodak and designed for still photography. It features a large built-in flash gun that uses M2, M5, and M25 style flash bulbs. From 1976 to 1979, the Eastman Kodak Hawkeye Tele-Instamatic camera was produced. It is a pocket camera, making it small and easy to carry with you wherever you go. The camera uses 110 size cartridge drop-in film that offered a good balance of image quality and size, was easy to load, had minimal settings, and was made for Instamatic cameras. This camera allows you to switch between a wide-angle lens and a telephoto lens. It also used disposable flip flash unit, which made it easier to capture well-lit images in low-lit conditions. When the camera was being produced, it was widely accessible, but now it's considered a vintage collectible. The Eastman Kodak Baby Brownie camera was produced from 1934 to 1941. It was designed by Walter Dorwin Teague, who gave the camera a distinctive molded bakelite body. Bakelite bodies are hard, brittle, heat-resistant, and can be molded into complex shapes. The purpose for the bakelite bodies was to allow mass production of unique, non-metallic looks. Other features the camera has is a meniscus lens, a rotary shutter, and a folding frame viewfinder. The camera uses 127 roll film and offers a good balance between image quality and portability. The Baby Brownie camera was designed to be simple, affordable, and be aimed at younger, more casual audiences. The final Eastman Kodak camera I'm going to show you is called the Eastman Kodak Dualflex 2. It was part of a 4-model series that was produced from 1950 to 1954. The body is made of aluminum alloy and features a chrome winder, film door latch, and twin lens. The camera typically uses Kodak's 620 film format. It was ultimately designed to be simple, fixed-focus camera for the mass market. It was aimed at amateur photographers looking for an easy-to-use and affordable camera. Another important camera company is the Polaroid Corporation. The corporation was founded in 1932 by Edwin Herbert Land. Edwin was born May 7, 1909 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and died March 1, 1991 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He went to Harvard University, and while he was there, he became interested in polarized light. He started studying and experimenting with it quite a bit. In 1932, he succeeded in the process of polarizing. Later in the same year, Edwin and George Wheelwright III, a Harvard physics professor, founded the Land Wheelwright Laboratories. In 1936, the company began to use more polarized material in sunglasses and other optical devices. Then in 1937, the company finally changed their name to Polaroid, which was their name until they shut down. Polaroid's very first invention was a plastic sheet light polarizer. Other inventions in the 1930s and 40s were the three-dimensional motion process and polarized optical devices for military use. In 1947, Polaroid introduced their first camera called the Polaroid Land camera. It was an instamatic camera that used self-developing film to produce a photograph almost immediately after taking it. In 1980, when Edwin retired, Polaroid Company continued making cameras, films, discs, and medical equipment, and identity verification equipment for security systems. They produced many firsts to the industry, including cameras with picture storage compartments, and they introduced many products that were worldwide bestsellers. In the early 2000s, Polaroid produced its first digital camera, which used self-developing film to create the print shortly after taking the picture. In 2001, Polaroid did have to file for bankruptcy protection, and then in less than a year, most of the corporation's assets had been sold to OEP Imaging Corporation, creating a new company. So even though Polaroid isn't still running, the company was a big part in the camera world. The Polaroid cameras I'm going to show you are the most interesting ones that I thought, and ones that have important roles in history. The first camera is the Polaroid Speedliner Land Camera Model 95A. It was made in 1954 to 1957, making it one of the earliest instant cameras. It was a part of the Speedliner line that helped popularize Polaroid's instant film technology. Some of the camera's most important features are it used a zone focusing with parallax compensating wire in viewfinder, an LV exposure method, a rotary shutter, and it can use both electronic flash units and flash bulbs. The camera also used Polaroid 40 series roll film. The Polaroid Speedliner was a camera in between early instant cameras and more advanced models that followed. The second camera is the Polaroid Color Pack 2. It was produced from 1969 to 1972 and became a big seller because of its low price and its ability to use color instant films. To create the color black and white photographs, it used Type 100 instant pack film. The camera had a 114mm triplet lens and an automatic exposure system that adjusted the shutter speed, and it used flash bulbs. The Polaroid Color Pack 2 camera was designed to be able to capture and develop images instantly and for casual, everyday use. The Polaroid Highlander camera model 80A was made in 1957 and discontinued in 1959. The camera is a gray, tan, brown, and black, which most cameras don't have that many colors or even the color tan on them. It was also one of the Polaroid's first pocket cameras. After taking a picture or just having the camera out, it folded back into a compact size while also retaining instant film compatibility. Some special features it has was a rigid viewfinder, a self-erecting bellow design that automatically adjusted the lens to focus at different distances, and it used Type 30 instant roll film. By standardizing exposure settings and making the camera more user-friendly, the 80A model helped Polaroid transitioned from a niche instant film brand to a mainstream consumer product. Also using the Polaroid Highlander, Mary Moorman took the famous photo of John F. Kennedy's assassination. The final Polaroid I want to talk about is the Electric Eye Land Camera Model J66, which was produced from 1961 to 1963. It used Type 47 cartridge instant film and features a built-in electric eye for automatic exposure and collapsible bellows on scissor struts. What makes this camera even more interesting is it was the last mass-produced instant roll film camera made from Polaroid, and it was the most mass-produced roll film camera with over 900,000 copies sold. The Montgomery & Ward Seneca Black Beauty folding camera was a camera that I thought was quite interesting. The camera was made by Montgomery & Ward, founded in 1872 by Aaron Montgomery Ward in Chicago, Illinois. He started the company selling goods with a single-sheet catalog. Over the decades, the company grew, and so did the products they had. In 1897, the company introduced their first camera. The Seneca Black Beauty folding camera was produced from 1905 to 1915. It was a high-end folding plate camera designed for plates. Some of the features the camera has was the simple meniscus lens with an Uno shutter for speeds, black bellows, and chrome-plated metal parts. Unlike other cameras at the time, the Seneca Black Beauty was ebonized and nickel-plated, with the entire case being black leather. It was known to be stylish and almost luxury for a plate camera. It was also part of the premium line, making it perfect for photographers that wanted both quality and style. Another camera we have is the Bell & Howell Sundial 220 movie camera. The camera was produced by the Bell & Howell Camera Company that was founded in 1907 in Durham, North Carolina. On the board of directors for the company were Donald Joseph Bell, Albert Summers Howell, and Margaret V. Bell. The firm made many products for the motion picture industry, as well as the products that improved the quality of projected images in a movie theater. They introduced their first camera in 1910, and in the late 1970s, dropped their line of movie cameras. Around the 2000s, Bell & Howell sold their imaging company to Eastman Kodak. The Sundial 220 movie camera was produced from 1954 to 1960. It is a small, compact 8mm movie camera with a steel case that reflected the mid-century modern design aesthetic. Some notable features the camera has include the built-in light meter, fold-down crank for winding, viewfinder for framing shots, and its sundial exposure system. It is also compatible with both color and black and white 8mm film. The camera's design was meant to emphasize its simplicity, being durable and reliable. A different Bell & Howell camera that we have is the Filmo Sportster Double Run 8 movie camera, produced from 1939 to 1952. The camera is small but heavy because it is made of metal and has a complex design. On the camera is an eye-level viewfinder, f2.5 lens, natural filter hand crank, a film speed setting, and a manual set reel timer. The camera also uses double 8mm sign film. An interesting piece about this camera is it has a twisting chart on the side that tells the user what the best stop is in different scenarios. Now that it is discontinued, it is known to be rare and collectible. The final camera I'm going to talk to you about is the Ansco Ready Flash camera that was produced by Ansco Camera Company. In 1842, E. Anthony & Co. was founded by Edward Anthony. Later, Anthony and Scoville Co. merged to become Ansco in 1901. In 1928, Ansco merged with Germany to compete worldwide in the photographic market. In 1870, the company started making cameras and became the first patent roll film holder that could be loaded in light. Over time, Ansco grew to be the second largest photographic supply company in the United States. The Ansco Ready Flash camera was produced in 1953 and discontinued in 1971. The camera is a basic sheet metal box with a viewfinder that has a fixed focus lens, fixed aperture, single speed shutter, and on the top of the lens panel has 2 flash terminals. It uses 620 roll film, which was introduced by Kodak in 1932. The Ansco Ready Flash seems to have been a replacement for the Ansco Pioneer camera that was discontinued in 1953. Those are some of the most interesting cameras we have. Any questions?
How many cameras are in the collection, just a ballpark?
There are around 50 cameras in the camera collection.
Those early Polaroid pictures, the first ones I remember, they came with a little thing, and the picture kept developing until you put that on it and stopped the developing. You had to do that, otherwise it would just keep going until it became completely black. It was really kind of different.
Yeah, cameras have very much evolved since they first came out.
It smelled bad too.
Oh.
Just a fun question. Being young as you are, the age of phone cameras, have you ever used an actual camera that's not a part of a phone?
I have not used an actual camera.
Like I said, just a fun question because I think you're probably in the norm with your age group.
Just another one of those things. It's like our telephone exhibit with the dial phone and the push button phone even.
We have throughout the summer, as Julia has been working, I know I think I've commented it to her, but amongst the staff, those of us that might be a little bit older than our teen summer interns, commented about how the struggle was real when you take that roll of film in to be developed, and it had 24 or 36 pictures on it. When you got them back, you were hoping for some good ones because you never really knew until you picked them up from the photographer that developed them. So the digital world certainly has its advantages, but
if you want to see somebody's pictures, you have to look at their camera, and they've probably got 100 or 1,000 pictures on there.
Well, there absolutely is they're on a digital device. Do we get them printed? And I think that's a definite change that has occurred, that they stay on a device and we don't actually print pictures, where for those of us of a certain age, you didn't have a choice. If you wanted to see the pictures, you had to have them developed.
Where did the name Kodak come from? Eastman Kodak?
Eastman was the last name of George Eastman, who founded the company, and I'm not sure where Kodak came from.
Okay, because it seems like, the other companies that you mentioned, they had combinations of names and stuff. I was just wondering where Kodak came from. I thought it was interesting, too, that a lot of the earlier cameras that you talked about didn't have a very long life. But the ones that you talked about toward the end, they produced them for a longer period of time.
Yeah, some cameras weren't a big hit, and other cameras were, and that had to do with the years.
I remember my mom, when she talked about a camera, she always said, "Go get the Kodak." She didn't say camera, it was always the Kodak.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where you've gotten all your 50 cameras? I mean, these pictures are cameras that are here?
Yes. There are multiple donors, but yeah.
So we have donor names on
Yeah,
it.
donor names on them.
So
Yeah.
they're all, okay.
Just
Mhm.
think of all the businesses that have gone out of business, like the film things, everybody had to buy film all the time. That's all gone out of business. The developer people.
Flash bulbs?
Flashbulbs, yeah.
We also have quite a few accessories, is that right?
Yeah. Tomorrow, if you come to the exhibit opening, a lot of the accessories will be in my case. Yeah.
Good advertising.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Julia.
Yeah.
Thank you.